baby. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you are having an amazing Saturday and an amazing weekend so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say, hey, stories come in all shades, and I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I am just ecstatically crazy about, as you know by now. You know the drill. Hop on into the comments, say hello, where you're tuning in from, so I can give you the props that you so richly deserve. Also, make sure that you hop on over to the Facebook group, get plugged in, become part of the family. We definitely would love having you. Facebook.com/groups/The Color of Motion. We share a lot of industry news, have some great conversation, and just all around fun. So make sure you join our community. We don't want you to miss out for sure. Also, you can connect with me on all my social channels here, where you can find me. I definitely want to hear from you. Give, your thoughts on the show, what you would like to see, maybe who you might want me to try and get on, but I definitely want to hear from you. It helps me to make the show even better. So you can connect with me on all those social platforms right there. To start out with, I want to make sure that, I give our host, or not our host, but our sponsor a big shout out for today's episode, Toon Boom. If you are a Toon Boom lover, you already know they bring your stories to life with their amazing software, Storyboard Pro and Harmony 21. If you are a 2D animator, storyboard artist, illustrator, that is definitely a must-have tool for sure. And if I'm not mistaken, I think our guest uses that, but we'll find out for sure. So, Toon Boom, thank you for being a sponsor to the show. Mr. No Parkin, appreciate you there. Good Saturday afternoon to you there, brother. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, Miss Granny, appreciate you. Miss Maggie, appreciate you as always, tuning in as well. Definitely got to give some shout outs there. Mr. DeMille, knew you would show up, my man. And you're going to love this episode. I know. We were just talking about you. You're going to love this episode. So make sure you stay tuned there. What else? Man, oh, man, oh, man. So much stuff going on. The store is open. Make sure you hop on over to the store, pick you up some swag there. thecolorofmotion.net/swag. You get you some gear. We have some great shirts, some hoodies, mugs, and we're constantly putting stuff in the store. So make sure you hop on over there and get you some gear. Only thing I ask is if you pick up something, make sure you take a picture of yourself, send it to me, so I can share it on the show and in the community, because my goal is to get everybody in some Color of Motion swag before it's all said and done, What else? Man, oh, man, like I said, just going by so quickly. Like I said, we're here every Saturday live, 3 p.m. Central Time. You can check us out on the YouTube channel, the Facebook group, on the website, but I always highly encourage people to join the YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, give a thumbs up, comment on the episode, because that definitely helps the algorithm for sure. Definitely want to hear from you, but there you can check out all the past great guests that we had on the show. You won't miss out on any great content that's put up on the channel. So make sure you hop on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. All right, man. Like I said, I think we're about ready to kind of get this train on the tracks and rolling. So let's get this show on the road. Sorry about that. I'll fix it by the time we get back. you know. Okay. All right, all right, all right. We are back. I appreciate that, Dewan. You said it was a bit too loud. Let me know how it is now. I kind of adjusted it for sure. So let me know how it's kind of coming across because I definitely want to get that kind of dialed in right there for sure. Uh, Tell Bird, I appreciate. Tell Bird he needs to be watching the show. So hopefully he's checking out the show with you. But if not, tell him I said what's up. I'll be seeing him soon. Seeing you guys soon for sure. And Amanda, yep, that was you, Amanda. Sorry, appreciate it. You know I gotta show just the gear out there and all the great people that are sporting it, looking so great. And looking forward to having Amanda on the show. Great visual effects artist. So can't wait, can't wait. All right. Well, that's good. Got me another viewer. Appreciate that, Maggie, getting them on there. What's up, Lewis? All right. Well, we're ready to get this going, and I am super excited about my next guest. Been looking forward to him for sure. I think the volume of my voice decreased a little. He said, how's it coming across? I think the volume of your voice decreased after the countdown. Yeah, I can adjust it individually, the volume per scene. So I did turn it down just a tad, a little bit. So again, let me know how it's kind of coming across. I don't want to blast you guys' ears, but I definitely want you to hear me for sure. So I appreciate that. All right. Like I said, I know you'll be super excited about my next guest. He does some amazing work, and you're going to see it. But just been looking so forward to having him on the show. He's a follower of the show, super talented, and, he is representing Trinidad and Tobago. So my next guest was born in Trinidad and Tobago, and thanks to his mother's wisdom, who saw his creativity and nurtured it, he had a passion for comics and animation from a very young age. Being a child of the 80s, he grew up on a healthy diet of comics and 2D animated series. A spark was lit in him that made him want to create his own comics and animation. He couldn't fulfill that desire because there weren't any opportunities for someone like him back then to become a part of the industry. Many years later, when he met his wife, Dixie Ann, he was inspired to revisit his childhood passions, and I'm so glad he did. He taught himself how to illustrate and animate so that they could tell their stories with animation as the main vehicle. Their very first project was a comic called Celflux that they went on to turn into an idea for an animated series. It was well received, and they went on to create another project called The God of the Wilderness. Their third project, Jumbie, is their most popular project to date and one they are currently working on. Because of the work they did on their personal projects, they got the opportunity to work on an animated short music video called A Better Tomorrow, which has already enjoyed some success at a few film festivals. Everybody, please help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Mr. Everard McBain. Everard, so glad to have you finally on. A lot of people don't know we were scheduled to have you on earlier in season 3, but something came up, so ended up having to reschedule. But I am so glad to finally get you on the show, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. It's really really good to be here. Listening to that intro there, I almost wanted to know who you were talking about. Who exactly you're introducing. But thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Awesome. I appreciate
Hello
that.
to all your guests, everybody tuned in as well.
Awesome. Let's throw up some comics. Mr. Antoine Cunningham. How's it going, my man? Looking forward to the show. I know you are. This is, like I said, going to be a great episode for sure. So stay tuned. Mr. No Parking welcomes you as well. Everybody's loving you, man. Like I said,
Thank you.
getting some good engagement. And I like to get this show on the road. What were some of the comics and animations that you watched that inspired you when you were younger, coming on in Trinidad and Tobago? What were some of the animations and stuff you watched?
Wow. So, if you would allow me, I want to tell a story
Sure.
to just give you an idea of how it was with me. Um, as far back as Birdman, Space Ghost,
Oh yeah.
back in the 70s. That's my earliest memories of animation on TV. Um, I used to get, I was scolded, I'll use the phrase scolded, for drawing in my exercise books while I was in class. As a 5, 6 year old, the teacher would be on the board uh, going through the lesson, and my head would be down, and I would be drawing Space Ghost and Birdman. Um, and I was scolded. I was considered idle and wasting time in class. I thank God for my mother every day because she realized that this excessive scribbling had something to it. you know. And she took me to a department store here in Trinidad called Kirpalani's. That's a very old department store. And she bought me a sketch pad. That was my very first sketch pad. And a set of watercolor paints. I don't know if you remember those watercolor paints that they had long time ago. They came in these plastic uh, things, and you just add water to it, and
Yeah,
it would
yeah, yeah. A
give you
little
paint. Right?
praying. Yeah.
Correct. So she bought that for me, and she told me whenever I feel like drawing the sketch pad, do drawing the exercise book, and that's how I got started. Um, so fast forward to the 80s. Um, I had a healthy dose, Super Friends, all these cartoons coming up. But the 80s was when it really hit. 80s, I fell in love with comic books in the 80s. And in reading one of those comic books, at the back of the comic book, there was a poster for something. And it had these half cat, half human people spread across the page. And one of them had a sword. And I was like, what's this? I need to know what this is. Is this a new book coming out or something? And some of the guys in my school had traveled abroad and they had already seen it, and they told me it was something called Thundercats. So I was
Yeah.
like, Thundercats? What's so back in those days we had you guys would have had Blockbuster. We simply had video clubs down here. We had these video clubs that we would go to and rent videos. And one evening, my mom took us to the video club, and when I entered the video club, I saw the same poster that I saw in the back of the comic book. And I said, "You guys have this? This is Thundercats. You guys have it?" And the video store owner was like, "Yeah, we have it." And that was it. head exploded when I saw um the entire screen turned red, and then this logo came up, and then you heard Thundercats. Yeah, I went crazy from there, and after that it was GI Joe, Transformers, and all the '80s action cartoons that proliferated the '80s.
Yeah.
Healthy, as you said it earlier, a healthy diet, visionaries, all those type of shows. Um, it got so bad that my mother and my sister understood that when I am in front of the TV watching cartoons, I am not to be disturbed. I leave him alone. If you need him to do anything, you could talk to him after. But for the 30 minutes that this thing is on, I am in another world. And
Don't
and
bother
I
me.
won't hear anything. I won't be able to communicate. You can't reach me. That's how bad it was.
Oh
So
man.
I mean, I can't go through all the lists, but just think of all those '80s
Oh
cartoons
yeah,
that
yeah. I was a big
that
Thundercats.
defined a generation.
Yeah,
That's what I grew up on.
I was a big Thundercats fan myself. I loved them. Just an amazing, amazing cartoon. And kind of like you, like I said, when I got in front of the TV, that was it. That was my time right there. But I think it was a good thing that your mother recognized your talent and
Oh,
really
definitely.
nurtured it. Because I know there are some that they may see it. Like my mom, she knew I had talent, but couldn't quite understand how you can make a living or really support
Mm.
yourself doing art and cartoons and that type of thing. But she always encouraged me. She always surrounded me around people that really kind of helped me. So I know how important that is. So kudos to your mom and stuff back
So
then.
my mom, she not only because she didn't understand really the art and the animation and stuff. She's a seamstress by profession, so she had some sort of creative element in her. Um, but she nurtured it. So things like I had a Thunder the Barbarian lunch kit. Yeah, that was a big deal for me, because I saw it on TV, and when we went to a store, there it was on the shelf, a blue Thunder the Barbarian, um,
Yeah,
and she got that for me. So she bought GI Joe toys. Um, I had the Dreadnought uh, car. So all these things, she would do, and that would nurture the creativity in me,
yeah,
and she always anything that I wanted to do in a creative area, she would support it.
yeah,
So I'm really really grateful for that.
yeah, yeah.
It's why I'm able to do what I can do today.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Well, at that age, did you find a group of other kids that were kind of as passionate and just into it like you, or did you find that in Trinidad, where you're from, it wasn't a big following or that type of thing?
I was fortunate enough to grow up with uh, the nerd group. So I wasn't in the sports group. I didn't play football, basketball, cricket, these things. It had guys in my school who were big into those things. But I was with the nerds, who were all into cartoons. And I'm really grateful for them too, because they introduced me to a lot of the things that I became familiar with. So a lot of people are familiar with Disney. Disney is another generation defining
Yeah,
in terms of the cartoons, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and these type of shows. But there was a whole other arm of animation that was taking place in the '80s that was more adult oriented.
yeah,
So, like you had Fire and Ice by Ralph Bakshi, and Rock and Rule, another Ralph Bakshi. The Lord of the Rings
yeah,
by Rankin Bass. These guys, these group of nerds that I grew up with, introduced me to all these things. So I wasn't the Disney kid friendly, although I was familiar with all these things. I
yeah,
was more into the uh, adult animation. So Trinidad has always had, even up to this day, a healthy uh, segment of the society that's into
Mm,
uh, all things animation, anime. It has been that way for a long time.
yeah.
You know, in the past we would have been branded, as I said, as nerds, but nerds are pretty popular these days. You know, it's okay to be a nerd
Yeah, it's
these
got a
days.
different connotation now.
Correct. It's changed. It's changed a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so I'm grateful for that as well to
yeah,
have been in that group. You know,
yeah.
yeah,
But I think Disney, like I said, Disney was, I mean, kind of the big standard. Although, like I said, I watched Disney and I love Disney. I think I was more a Warner Brothers,
right.
Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, that kind of slapstick kind of humor. But a lot of people say Disney was, of course, a big inspiration for you. But I'm curious um, if the industry, or if there was Trinidad was kind of big on that industry. Why did you feel like at that time you wouldn't be able to make it in the industry?
So while we had access to the shows um, via the video clubs and that type of stuff, when I was growing up in school at 13 years old, a lot of the things that exist today literally did not exist.
Yeah,
So computers, personal computers, were not a thing when I was 13 years old back in
yeah,
the 80s in Trinidad and Tobago. Um, Social media didn't exist.
yeah,
Digital programs, Photoshop, all these things were non-existent, and all these uh, tools that are available today, these technological tools, um, did not exist. If I wanted to be an animator back when I was in school, I would have to get on a plane, fly to a foreign country,
yeah,
and go to a university and learn how to animate
yeah,
for lots and lots and lots of money
yeah,
that I did not have. You see,
yeah,
so um, the availability of the opportunities wasn't there
yeah,
to go into the field of animation for
yeah,
me
yeah.
back then. You know, today all of that has changed.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Technology has advanced to the point that personal computers are um, that's an everyday thing now.
yeah,
Um, Photoshop, all these programs, powerful programs are available to the average person.
yeah,
You know, YouTube,
yeah,
University of YouTube, where I learned most of my skill, illustration as well as animation, didn't exist, and it's free learning.
yeah,
Whereas before, as I said, I would have had to pay to
yeah,
go to a university. You know,
yeah. And
so
plus,
that's
you
that's why
got
back then it just didn't have the opportunity.
yeah, and plus now you got a lot of online schools such as Animation Mentor, Noman, all these schools now that you don't necessarily have to go there or go to the country to learn animation or visual
Correct.
effects or things like that. So like I said, I'm right there with you. As you can see, I've come from a time before all this technology, so I can appreciate just the access now. And like
Hmm.
you said, we got so many tools that are freely available, like Unreal,
Hmm.
Blender, just so many different opportunities for people. Mr. Well, I'm not gonna say Mr. or Mrs., but Mix Craft, exactly for sure. Uh, Demille, it's cool to be a nerd today. Yeah, it's cool now. But back when you were younger, it was like whole separate thing. I'm curious though. Uh, did you think about any other profession of going into when you didn't think that it was possible for you? Was there something else that you thought that okay I'd be doing?
Yeah, well, it was necessary that I came up with another avenue for my creativity. And I became a graphic designer. I'm a graphic designer to this day. Um, that's how I make my bread and butter, as we say here in Trinidad.
Yeah,
Um, so, as I said, when I left school, that's when I was about 15 years old. Personal computers were now becoming a thing, and commercial art, as it was called then, now graphic design, was transferring to a digital format, whereas before everything was tactile. If you wanted a sign on a building or on a wall, you literally had individuals who would paint that sign on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, um, but it was transferring to a digital field. So I, on the guidance of my sister too, went and I took a Corel Draw course. That's Corel Draw was the first
Yeah.
design program ready to hit Trinidad, even before Photoshop. Um, and that was my first design course that I took, and I realized that there was a field where I could exercise my creativity to some extent and make a living, and that was graphic design.
Yeah.
So GemGFX, when my wife and I first put the idea together to create the company, um, it was mainly graphic design. We were providing graphic design services. Um, Later on, we changed it to GemGFX Animation Studios, where we were more focusing on animation and that type of stuff. But graphic design
Yeah.
saved my life, literally.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I agree because my degree is in visual communications and graphic design as well. And trust me, when I started, like you were saying, everything was manual. So,
Yeah.
like, I worked for an advertising agency. It was a sporting goods store, an advertising agency, and they had artwork of models. That was before they started taking photographs. They had actual artists drawing the people in the clothes and stuff. But we had to do all the boards by paste up. You take it to a camera, they would shoot it and that type of thing. And it was just a couple of years in when digital computers really started to be used for design and production. So it made that transformative process so much easier for sure. I'm kind of curious. Um, you said your wife was watching another room. What was it about meeting her that kind of helped spark that passion to get back into it? I mean,
Oh,
was it
listen,
something that
listen.
she encouraged, or what was it?
I have been fortunate to be surrounded by strong black women all my life. My mother was the first, who, as we just talked about, she nurtured that creativity. Uh, I've gotten many art supplies from my sister. When
Yeah,
my sister she used to babysit to make money, and she would take some of the money and buy art supplies for me. So, keeping in that same vein, my wife, I thank God for her every day. Um, she's my support. I know she's probably, I'm probably going to get licks for this because she don't like me to put her in the spotlight at all. But Dixie Ann, thank God for Dixie Ann. So when we got together, back in 2007, one of the things we used to do is we used to have a movie night. We would sit down, get something to eat, and we'll watch movies and that type of stuff. So she really grew up reading. She does a lot of reading. She likes novels. She didn't grow up watching movies and cartoons like myself, right? So I took the movie night opportunities to introduce her to my growing up. I looked at this when I was young and that type of stuff. So we went back looking at all these cartoons that I used to look at when I was a little boy, 13, 12 years old, watching these cartoons. And it's that experience, me introducing her to what I grew up on, reignited the spark in me. So you see why I say I thank God for Dixie Ann every day.
yeah,
And it was like the little boy that was sitting in front of that TV all those years ago watching Thundercats, you know, came alive in me again. And it was like, yeah, there's something I need to do. There's something this little boy wanted to do back then. Things different now. I think I could do it now. And I went to Dixie and I said, something I always wanted to do was create my own comic book. Um, I grew up on comic books and always wanted to create my own comic book. And Dixie Ann, being the support that she is, she didn't say, what, as we would say in Trinidad, what big man like you want to draw comics? A big man like, big hardback man like you? She didn't go like that. She was like, well, what's stopping you? Why don't you just, if you want to do it, why you just don't do it? And that's where it started. So
Oh man,
thank God for the strong black women that have surrounded me all my life up to this day.
what do they say? Behind every great man is a great woman. That
Definitely,
really
definitely.
pushes you, and kudos to her for really inspiring you to continue on, because that's so crucial. I think if you're trying to do something and your partner isn't on board with it, it's gonna
Yeah,
make
it's
it
impossible. That would be
it's gonna
impossible.
make it very hard.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. So you haven't had any formal education. I mean, everything that you've learned has been just self-taught off the internet, or what you learned from other people and things like that.
So I I say I'm self-taught because that's the reality. I didn't go to school to learn how to illustrate or to animate. Apart from the art classes that I had when I was in school, right?
Yep.
I did, however, take one course when I realized I wanted to be serious about this animation thing. And shout out to this guy, Aaron Blaze,
Oh yeah,
creature
Aaron.
art teacher,
Yeah.
coolest guy in the world, one of the coolest guys in the world. I took a fundamentals of animation course
Yeah.
with Aaron Blaze on Aaron Blaze website, and that gave me a solid foundation to produce a lot of the work that you would see me produce. But
Yeah.
apart from that, YouTube videos, um, I literally look at animation scenes from other cartoons and break down those animation scenes, looking at them frame by frame by frame. And that's where I learned. Also, they use a single frame here, and they use a double frame here, and that's basically how I learned how to animate. But
Awesome.
no formal education. I have no degrees in animation or art or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know, because I've looked at, like I said, I've been following Aaron for a little bit and checked out his work. He's amazing animator, artist.
Yeah.
For first and foremost, an amazing artist, and does great animal work. And been
I
looking
see,
to uh, do some of his courses for sure.
I see that guy. That guy is not normal. Aaron Blaze is not normal because he worked on stuff like he's a big Disney
Yeah,
artist, a
he
former
worked for Disney.
Disney
Brother Bear.
animator.
I think he directed Brother Bear.
Brother
Yeah,
Bear, he worked
yeah,
on Mulan, I think. Um, and his work, he's left-handed too, so it's freehand work, and he does it so easily,
yeah,
because I mean he's been doing it for years. But I always say that those guys aren't normal. Those guys aren't normal. So I try to break down what they're doing. I know I could never replicate it, but I break down what they're doing, and I try to develop my own style from
yeah,
it. That kind of way.
yeah,
Yeah, but shout out to Aaron Blaze. I'll recommend him his courses to anyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, like I said, of course, Disney, they have all the great artists that on staff, so they do some amazing work, from the original uh, Old Men. What was it, 12? I think 12 Old Men, and to the current ones. You can find some amazing artists that work. For those just tuning in, we're having an amazing conversation with my friend Everard McBain. Make sure you hop in, throw some comments, ask a question if you'd like to know. But uh, for you, I mean, how do you see Trinidad now, as far as it growing in the industry? Do you see, like I said, schools starting to come up, or or is it still that you have to go outside or online to kind of get a learning?
No, not at all. So things have changed a lot. There is a major animation program at a school here in Trinidad, called a university in Trinidad called the University of Trinidad and Tobago, UTT. So folks in Trinidad could, if they want to pursue a career in animation, can access animation education here by qualified professionals here in Trinidad. Um, so the animation industry in Trinidad largely consists of work done for advertising agencies. lots of 3D animation, some 2D animation, a lot of motion graphics
Mm.
uh, in the ads, for products and that type of stuff. And the Trinidad industry also supports regionally as well as internationally to produce that type of work. You know, um, only recently um, the government of Trinidad and Tobago in particular has been looking at it as a means of gaining foreign exchange. So they've started to invest again in UTT and other institutions like that
Yeah.
to develop the animation industry.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing it as something that could produce foreign exchange.
Oh yeah.
Because Trinidad and Tobago is largely oil and gas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where most of the income, the government incomes comes from.
Yeah.
But been a push to diversify the economy, and one of the areas that they've been looking at is the creative sector. So we have the music. You would be familiar with soca music,
Yeah.
big
Soca.
coming up
Yeah.
to Trinidad,
Yeah.
and the film industry, which includes the animation industry.
Yeah.
So things have changed. Things have
Yeah.
changed in a big way. So it isn't as hopeless or depressing as it was, back in my
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
You know.
Nah, it's it's funny that you mentioned soca. I used to do t-shirt designs, and the owner was from Trinidad, so he would. Plus, it was a t-shirt and a record shop, so he was selling soca music, dance music, while I was printing shirts and stuff. Um, but
So just to let you know, Trinidad and Tobago. Let me say it like they would in the tourism advertisement. We're the most southerly isle of the tropical Caribbean, home of the steel band Calypso and Limbo. Um, we have 1.3 million in our population, but trust me, you could find a Trinidadian anywhere in the world. You go
anywhere,
anywhere in the world, you will come across a Trinidadian acting like a Trinidadian.
Trinidad.
Don't the food, the clothes, the soca. I saw a video of a group of people in Japan. Here, listen to what I'm telling you. Jumping and waving the soca music in a serious way, in a very, very serious way. So Trinidadians are all over. We won a few Miss Universe competitions, Miss World. We won a few Olympic medals, Atto Bolden. Um, we qualified for the World Cup once with the Soca Warriors,
Yeah.
So we all over. We all
Oh
over
man.
Trinidadians, all over. And we have descendants, Trinidadian descendants. I understand, I've never been, but I understand there's a big Trinidadian community in Brooklyn, somewhere
Yeah.
there in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So yeah, we small, but we have impacted the world in a big way.
He was
Yeah.
he was an interesting character and a great guy, man. Nick, I loved him, man, and worked for him for a good couple of years, but it was so interesting. And like you said, he had the type that he had the front of the store, and then in the back, he had a little hot plate where he was fixing up fish and oh man, plantain and roti, and man,
Trinidadians
it was
will
heaven,
always
man.
be Trinidadians, wherever they, no
I
matter where
loved
they
it.
go.
I loved it. For you, what was kind of the biggest challenge teaching yourself and learning animation? What was your biggest kind of hurdle that you kind of struggled with?
So there are many, 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 many obstacles. Um, so the main thing is money. That's the main funding. Um, the second thing is opportunities for uh, how to put it, work
Yeah,
experience. So being self-taught, you're competing with those who were taught professionally.
yeah,
And if you're thinking about going into a studio or getting a job in the industry, um, of course, you're not going to, I mean, unless you can demonstrate that you can produce top end quality work, you're
yeah,
not going to get that opportunity.
yeah,
The person who has the professional experience and training is going to get that opportunity above you, you know. But I don't want to focus so much on the obstacles because everyone's challenges will be different. Um, the thing would be to overcome those challenges, whatever
Yeah.
they are. You know, for me, it was, funds and the opportunities to get the experience and that type of stuff, to get feedback, genuine feedback from professionals in the field and that type of stuff. People genuinely not taking the time to give you feedback on your work unless they're really down to it people and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it has always, to overcome those challenges. It has always been the passion for the craft.
Yeah.
So if I can't get the opportunity to work in a studio, create my own. Um, Create personal projects and work on those personal projects as though I was working in a studio.
Yeah.
Um, passion, passion, and let the passion drive you. Because if you're working for yourself, you're not being paid, um, and you're not going to gain that experience, as I said, as if you were working in a studio, working next to people and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just about the passion to do the work for the craft that will
Yeah.
help you overcome those challenges.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
for sure. Mr. Andre, appreciate you there, brother. Super talented animator modeler for sure. So appreciate you stopping by. Why Fly 79 Secret? Do you have an ultimate goal or dream related to your animation work? Which you'll probably see, and you're going to see his demo reel, but what is, I'm assuming, GemGFX Animation's ultimate goal is to produce and get out their own animated films and movies.
Correct. Correct.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And it's interesting that you mentioned how Trinidad and the government is starting to get behind it, because that's and I had this conversation with last week's guest, and he's from Lagos, Nigeria, and that was what I was telling him. I was finding with a lot of the African creators that I've had on the show is that the government has not yet, kind of started really putting into the industry, like say over here or in Trinidad, and that's always kind of a challenge with that. So I found that interesting that Trinidad is really starting to, put
Yeah, you
into the
see,
industry.
as you well know, Don, the animation industry is a $1 billion
Oh yeah,
industry.
yeah,
There's a lot of money to be made in the animation industry as it relates to entertainment. So, stakeholders locally who have been in talks with government agencies have helped them see the potential, because make no mistake, they call it the animation industry. It's about money.
yeah,
It's a business. While it's driven by creative folks like you and myself, when it comes down to it, is whether or not this thing could generate
yeah,
funds,
yeah,
So the stakeholders have helped the government to see the potential earnings um, that's available in this $1 billion industry. If they could just tap into a fraction, I
yeah.
think it's 63 billion or
Oh
something
yeah,
worldwide. Um, so they have started to invest, slowly, but substantially still,
yeah.
you know.
And that's good
Yeah.
to know, because, like I said, I think that's one of the challenges that Africa is going to have to kind of overcome a little, is the government kind of get behind, subsidizing studios, schools, and, just really igniting it for sure. Mr. Andre, this brother Everett got some swag. Yeah, he does. Trinidadian swag.
Okay.
Trinidadian swag for sure. Oh man, oh man. And do you are you um happy about the diverse characters that are starting, and creators that are starting to come up and come to the forefront and really start to put their content and their ideas and stories out there? Because,
So
as you said, Disney was a big thing, so everybody's kind of used to Disney style animation, and especially over here, just a
Mhm.
certain style of animation. Do you feel people now are just really hungry for different characters, different stories?
Definitely. So I'm very cautious about the drive for diversity that we are currently seeing. I welcome it, yes, but there are some sneaky folks. I'll explain to you what I mean. So diversity is necessary. All these cartoons that I spoke about that I grew up on, it didn't have any characters in those cartoons that looked like me. You know,
Yeah.
they were inspiring to me nonetheless. But the blackest thing in those cartoons was Pancho. You know, because everybody everybody considered Pancho as the black character. You know, but apart from that, and apart from one or two characters in GI Joe, it didn't have anybody looking like me,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm glad to see today that you're seeing more diverse characters and better representation of characters of color and characters from marginalized and underrepresented groups
Yeah.
appearing in mainstream animation. However, when you look behind the scenes
Yeah.
at who is creating these characters and who is making the money
Yeah.
from these characters,
Yeah.
that hasn't changed as much as the characters that you're looking at. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
No, I understand
I'm not,
exactly
I'm not
what you're
trying to be
saying.
controversial or anything like
No.
that.
No.
But we have been getting nice, diverse characters on the forefront.
Yeah.
But the diversity behind the scenes is changing slower
Yeah.
than the diversity that we're seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
That shout out to Jay Francis. Um, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but he's the head of diversity at
Disney.
Disney,
Yeah.
and he is doing a lot of work, you know, to change the diversity that's behind the scenes,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so that it can match
Yeah.
what is in front of the screen. So yes,
Yeah.
to answer your question, yes, I'm happy to
Yeah.
see um,
And,
what's happening,
and I
but
always,
I'm waiting to see it change
yeah. and,
substantially on the back end as well.
and I've always said that while there's a lot of change at the lower level, creators, artists that are actually doing the work, I would definitely want to see more at the executive level. The people
Mhm.
that, are making the decisions on sitting at the board table, and that's starting to,
Writing the stories.
slowly. I'm also a big fan, and I had this conversation with Joshua on LinkedIn the other day. I'm a big fan of people controlling their own IP. I'm really happy about studios like Lion Forge, all these other studios that are black owned and minority owned. I connected with Carlos Gaxiola out of South America, Mexico, I think. He
Mhm.
does a lot of stuff with Nickelodeon and that, but Hispanic owned studio. So I'm a big proponent of independent studios can keep in control of their own IP and ideas and things like that. Uh, maybe partnering with Disney for distribution or some of these other companies for distribution, but still keeping ownership of their own content.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
like I said, I think that's going to be the other half of the equation there. Not only just studios doing it themselves, like Disney or Warner or Netflix or
Mhm.
some of the others creating it, but independent studios like I said, like Lion Forge, and like all these other ones that are starting to crop up and control your own IP. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to get on Disney, Netflix, and this and that, but 9 times out of 10, if you take your idea to them, they're gonna get ownership of it. And you may make some money, but they're obviously gonna make more money because that's, like
Mhm.
you said, the bottom line, is to make money, and they want to be able to make money off of it. But I'm excited about these independent creators that are wanting to keep control of their own content. And I think now, like you said, that we have all of these channels and avenues now to get our content out there. A lot more creators, and it's starting to swell. A lot more creators are wanting to control and own and make the money off of their own IP as opposed to just a little share of it. So I'm excited about that for sure. Mr. DeMille has a question here. Ooh, that's kind of large. Let me size this down and bring it in there for sure. All right. Can you speak on the importance of having multiple streams of income while you are in the industry due to how financially unstable it can be?
I would recommend it. So again, when Dixie Ann and I decided that we wanted to work on our telling our stories, um, we had I'm laughing at it now. We were like wide-eyed children thinking that we're going to go out here and share our stories with people, and large corporate entities were going to jump on board and spend lots of cash, just throw buckets of
Yeah,
money
this
at us.
mad rush to come to you.
Yeah, and we would be fully funded, and we would we'll only have to concern ourselves about the creative aspect, and we learn real quick, real quick, that that's dreams, that's not reality. So again, thank God for Dixie, and she's an accountant by profession,
Mm,
and she, for our latest project, Jumbie, she broke it down into phases. She looked at it as a project, project management, and she broke it down into phases. And she broke down the spending into phases and who we would and what we'd have to do. And that's how we're able to fund the project ourselves, because we're taking it in small bites,
yeah,
that kind of way. Um, but you have to live, you
yeah.
have to eat. So as much passion as you have, you can't take passion to the grocery. So you cannot go to the cashier, you can't go full literally then go to
He
the
said, I
cashier
got
and say,
passion to
i'm,
pay for
I'm
this.
paying this I'm paying for this with passion. They will call the men in white suits for you. Yeah, I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from.
I
So
do.
so you have to find a way to balance your needs. So like me, we have jobs,
Yeah,
quote unquote real jobs.
yeah,
Graphic design for me. Dixie Ann is also working in the field of graphic design now. She took it up. Um, and we use our free time to work on GemGFX stuff,
yeah,
that kind of way. It means many late nights, after we finish doing the real job work. The free time it goes into 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, working on Jumbie. That's just the reality of the situation.
yeah.
The passion fuels that, but passion can't buy a soda. You know, so that's the reality. So to answer the gentleman's question, yeah, you have to have some sort of income, but to make sure that you don't go crazy
Yeah,
or lose your mind or something, just balance it out, take it in steps, find a plan, break it down,
yeah, yeah.
and it
For,
should be okay.
for sure, for sure. You definitely, like I said, got to take care of the necessities,
Yeah, yeah.
and the things that you need for life. Well, we're going to take a quick look at some of Everett's work there. Like I said, amazing stuff. I was just blown away by just the quality and style of your artwork, and super looking forward to just diving into Jumbie. But you can see just the creativity and quality that you put behind the work is such amazing. And I was curious, where did the idea for Jumbie come from?
So another story, uh, uh, just to help folks understand how it all came together. Uh, the pandemic the pandemic hit, and while you saw people losing their lives and livelihoods because of the pandemic, I noticed how fragile society as a whole was. Society only exists because people agree to be a part of that society.
Yeah.
and agree to um, follow the rules and live by the rules that society. Um, and I saw how easily this thing could all crumble. When people, so much is going on, people losing everything and that type of thing. And I said, um, it's better to do whatever you want to do now, because just like that, everything could fall apart. And when I'm saying, we're not just talking about, today, here, tomorrow, you're gone, speaking about your own life. I'm talking about society as a whole.
Yeah.
Today it could be good, and tomorrow it could be in shambles.
Yeah.
I am legend type situation,
Yeah.
So I told Dixie Ann, I said, I'm thinking about coming up with a character um, to inspire people to overcome the challenges that they're facing with this pandemic. If we come out on the other side and the world is still around, people are going to need things to inspire them. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot of folklore stories, folklore characters. And one of the uh, what do you call the evil characters is a
Yeah.
character called a Jumbie. It's traditionally an evil character, a character that's very mischievous and
Yeah.
does wicked things. If something bad happens, they usually say a Jumbie did it. So I decided to turn that on its head. So since the Jumbie is looked at as a bad thing, what would happen if we were to take it and turn it around as a good thing and make the Jumbie the hero of the story rather than as traditionally is the villain? And I did this for this reason. We could only see bad things coming out of the pandemic. So what do we do with that? The only way we're going to overcome is if we find good out of all the bad that has happened, and find Trinidadians. Let me give you an example. Trinidadians have a history of finding good out of bad situations. We unfortunately had a coup in 1990 where a group tried to overthrow the government. During this coup, it didn't last very long. It lasted like 6 days. The government imposed a curfew. The army was out. The police was out. We were throwing curfew parties in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, it was not a problem to find a curfew fed somewhere. So music, drinks, normal. But yeah, we could be finished by curfew. But we having curfew parties. So there was a time a storm was heading to Trinidad. I can't remember the name of the storm, but the government issued warnings, stay indoors, storm coming. News reporters went out and found people liming in a place we call hanging out liming in Trinidad. That's what we call it. You're going to lime, means you're going to hang out. People were liming in a place called St. James. Normal. And they were like, but the storm is coming. Say, yeah, but if the storm coming, it had to come, we can't stop it. And the storm can't stop the lime. That is how Trinidadians are. So traditionally, we have been able to find good out of bad situations, which is what we would need for this coming out of this pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we took the wicked character that traditionally people knew to be the wicked character, and we said, let's see if we could take something and find something good out of this wicked character and make the Jumbie the hero of the story. That's where Jumbie came from.
No,
The female character, I just spoke about strong black females that have surrounded me, so it was a given that the character would be female.
Yeah.
And a character of color as well. And that's how the idea came together.
Yeah. You just answered it because I was getting ready to ask you, was it a conscious effort to make her a woman?
Yeah, without a doubt. Females are the heroes, and that's not just me. And I think what the young people call it simping. That's not me. Just rating women for rating women's sake. It is my personal experience that everything I am or where I am today is because of a strong black woman. And
I say the same. Like I said, I was raised by my mom, pretty much by my mom.
So apart from Storm, and the the characters of color, female characters of color that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
I think we need more. I
Yeah.
think we need more. So
Yeah. No.
enter Jumbie, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely want to make sure that I hope she doesn't get mad at me, but your wife there, the better is more better half. That strong black woman.
Let me. I don't know how much time we have, and I don't want to
go over your time. We got a little time, yeah.
So Dixie Ann, again, when the pandemic hit, she lost her job, right? She was an accountant working at a place, and they laid off a few people, and she lost her job. Dixie Ann took up 3D modeling with Blender, right? So folks, if your viewers were to go find GemGFX on YouTube or one of these places, all the 3D work that you would see, the buildings, the vehicles, Dixie Ann did that.
Oh,
I don't work in 3D. I don't do 3D work. I'm an illustrator and a 2D animator.
Yeah.
Character animator that. Dixie Ann does all the 3D backgrounds, vehicles, everything.
Oh man.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah,
we got to get Dixie on.
so that's what I say. But you see, she doesn't like the spotlight. She doesn't like the spotlight. Yeah. I mean, it's literally like pulling teeth to get her to, you know. But I told her sometimes. Well, I know you don't like the spotlight, but you had to go. People have to see. Man. People have to know that it's a team. You know, it's not just me. You know.
That is amazing, and you're gonna see. Like I said, we're gonna show the GFX's demo reel in a minute. You're gonna see some of her amazing work, for sure. But that's just amazing that she picked up, and I'm always impressed with people that just make a pivot and really, pick something up so quickly. For sure, I'm trying to get through Blender myself, so I can get with that. Let's jump on over here for sure. Let's throw in some more comments. Mr. Andre Rodriguez, yes, the ongoing battle between creativity and commerce is a real thing, for sure. It's something that every artist kind of struggles with and has to deal with at some point. Miss Amanda loves that. Woman power. Gotta love it. For sure. Oh, man. Love to hear it. Definitely. Wi-Fly 79 Secret, I think, agrees with it as well, for sure. Let's see. X140, the movie. Let me scale this a little. Get this in here. 140, the movie. We have to start our own companies and then sink that money and those resources back into our own communities to regenerate new Black companies in this industry. So for sure, and definitely have to support the ones that are creating it. I know a lot of times, like I said, you get a Black creative or somebody that's doing it, and we don't show up to support it. So you have to support and get behind the things that are being created. X140, the movie, agreed 100%. Big up to Trini. Yes, the Caribbean artist. Like I said, it's growing. The industry is growing, and I'm always excited to see just so many new ideas, so many new stories come into play. And with that, let's take a look at some of GemGFX's work.
Give me something.
like I said, such amazing work. I was just blown away when I started seeing Everett's work and just what he was doing. Um, and obviously, everybody else here feels the same way. Mr. Michael Burton, very nice for sure. Why Fly 79 Secret, Trinidad. Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago. Oh man, the movie is Antoine coming out. Avatar, just so you know. Yes, like I said, Antoine is going to be on in a couple of weeks, I think, pretty soon. Miss Amanda, dynamic, real, loving it. Mr. DeMille, see DeMille, I knew you would love it. You know, like I said, DeMille is just all about animation, so I knew DeMille would love it. Uh, It's the no parking, powerful animation, real Everett. The style gave me Avatar. Like I said, I love the style and just the action of it. It's so hard, like I said, to animate action, you know, and have it really be fluid and good. Very, very hard to do. So that's why I have such respect for you and your wife. What you and then too, it's hard to be putting a project together with a small team or by yourself. So very hard. So you gotta give respect to somebody that takes the time, even if it's themselves working on it, to work on a project and put it out there. Miss Maggie loves it for sure. Nice work, bro. What are some of the tools of the trade that you use to create your work? You said your wife is using Blender, you know, for
Mhm.
the background stuff. What are you using for 2D and some of the animation and stuff?
So, so I heard you earlier talking about Toon Boom.
Yep,
Toon Boom is the industry standard for
yep.
all those animation studios. And I, being the strange guy, I have only recently downloaded Toon Boom to look at it. But all the work that you see me do, I animated in Photoshop
Oh,
and composed in
wow.
After Effects. Yeah,
Holy
all
moly.
all of it, all of it.
Holy
So
moly.
again, being a graphic designer, those were the programs that I had available to me.
Yeah,
So when I started looking at animation and doing the training, I realized Photoshop had a timeline feature,
yeah.
um, onion skin, and all that type of thing. So I started animating in Photoshop.
Wow.
And After Effects, the sister program, gave me
Yeah,
all the compositions, the camera shake, all the effects that I needed and that type of stuff. So I further learned that there are quite a few people who animate in Photoshop, not
yeah,
as many as the Toon Boom crowd.
yeah.
Um,
Wow.
but I'm a part of that small group of animators who produce that kind of work
Yeah,
using
yeah.
Photoshop
That
and
is
After Effects.
impressive, for sure. Like I said, I've been using Photoshop for a long time, and I've known they had a timeline. And I've
Mm.
played with it a little, but you know,
So you
it's
see, it's the principles.
yeah,
Shout out again to Aaron Blaze.
yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what program you use. Once you follow the animation principle, the fundamental animation principles, you can use any one of those programs.
Uh,
Um, I
uh,
understand Blender has a grease pencil.
yeah, Blender, and I was just getting ready to say Blender has a
Right,
very nice, and I'm starting to see a lot of nice 2D animation come
right.
out of
So
Blender.
it's
So
all about the fundamentals. Once you
yeah,
follow the fundamentals, it doesn't matter the program you use. You can produce um,
amazing, amazing.
amazing work. Yeah.
But yeah, Toon Boom is industry standard, and they've been a great sponsor for the show.
Yeah,
And
that's why I've downloaded it. I'm thinking if the opportunity ever arises, if one of these studios call me and they say, "Hey, we've seen your work, we'd like you to work on us, but we use Toon Boom," and I'm like, "Well, I've never used Toon before. I use Photoshop." They'll be like, "Okay, well, we'll go to the next person who knows Toon Boom," that kind of way. So I said I might as well start
yeah, if you're
familiarizing myself with the program.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you're looking to get into a studio, then
yeah,
you know learning kind of the industry standards is kind of the thing to do. Like I said, you know, before even that, which I think a lot of it's not. And I was gonna let me throw this up here because Amanda said Flash. That was a big thing with 2D early on. People using
yeah,
Flash.
yeah.
Now it's called Adobe Animate.
Adobe Animate,
Yeah,
correct, correct.
Adobe ended up buying it and switching it, and it's still a great tool for 2D animation, for sure. But Toon Boom is kind of the industry standard, what a lot of studios are using and a lot of creators are using. And we had a lot of fun last year, looking to do it again this year. We gave away 2 licenses to their Storyboard Pro and their Harmony software. Like I said, they've been amazing sponsors for the show, and we're looking to do some giveaways again this season as well. Super amazing tool. Mr. Andre, very good action reel. I'd like to see some moments of levity mixed in there. I mean, it's, yeah, I guess. He loves action. Is that your style? I mean, is that kind of your sci-fi? Is that kind of the niche or lane that you're kind of going down? Kind of the fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah, it's what I grew up on. It's what I grew up on. I mean, not saying that because you grew up on it, you have to stay in that lane, but that idea of creating worlds and creating characters and that type of thing has always fascinated me. So
Yeah.
it I am not a fan of the cartoon, the 90s era that came in where it had this slapstick comedy. Um, I mean, it has its place,
Yeah.
the Carlots type,
Yeah.
big mouth, big eyes.
Yeah.
It has its
Kind of
place,
like a Ren and
props to the
Stimpy.
folks. Yeah, props to the folks who like it and who could do it, but that's not me. I grew up on the sci-fi action, human type characters, that kind of way. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that has always been me.
Yeah. No, for sure. Mr. Everett, I think you said he used After Effects, like for
After
post
Effects, yeah.
production.
After
Post
Effects is my
production.
go-to. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another, like I said, which not a lot of people are kind of using, but the benefit of Blender is you have all those tools. You can do you can do compositing, post production, pretty much the whole thing, right? In Blender, and it's free. I keep saying,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't beat that, for sure. Mister EX140, the movie. I mean, why these keep coming in so big? Why is this such a shock to see black folks? It's always been like that when it comes to these corporate companies or these plantations. The system was never designed for people that look like us. No, but we can break it for sure. And like I said, I think that's why, I love when we step into different areas because we bring our own flavor and our own style to it, whether it's golf, tennis, whatever it is that we do. We come with a different kind of style for sure.
My thoughts have always been build your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So um there's a place, and like I said, if a studio should call me, sure, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to wait for a studio to call me, you see. So just the other day I was speaking to a young man who he actually took an animation course, and he finished the animation course, and when he finished the animation course he was like, okay, well, what do I do now? And it got so bad that the guy was looking, at least he told me, he was thinking about giving up on this animation dream that he had, because he doesn't know what to do. There are no opportunities, no one's hiring, that type of thing. And I told him, I said, if it's something you want to do it. Look at what the resources that you have, look at what's available to you, look at the free resources and that type of stuff, and build your own. Don't wait for someone to call you.
Yeah.
If Dixie Ann and I had waited, we would not have had Celflux, we would not have had the God of the Wilderness, we would not have had Jumbie. And Jumbie was direct. The result of Jumbie was someone saw the work that we did, and they hired us to work on a better tomorrow. So we have 4
Yeah.
projects that we worked on. 3 of them are our own, and 1 is another person's that we were called to work on.
Yeah.
But if we had waited, so these corporations are out here trying to make money. Let them do what they're doing. You build your own. Don't try to fight. If you get in, you get in, but don't make it a priority.
Yeah.
Build your own.
Yeah.
And if they call you, well, answer the call if you want to.
Yeah. And if you do that, 9 times out of 10, eventually they will call you because, like I said, and I tell everybody, this is an amazing, amazing time for content creators because you got the software, you got the hardware, and you got the channels to get your stuff out there to be seen. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big proponent, just like you, build your own, put it out there. While you're doing it, you're going to make your skills better. And trust me, these big companies are doing the same things that we're doing, scouring the internet, looking for different things. And that's how they find this talent that's out there. So if you don't put your stuff out there, you're not going to get seen. So just don't wait. Don't wait for Pixar to open their door. Don't wait for Disney to open their door. Just create your stuff and get it out there.
Do it, yeah.
Mr. Andre, yep. Build your own. And I like to say, like I said, don't let anything stop you. Like I said, Andre's another prime example. And I'm not going to, not tooting your horn there, Andre, but I'm impressed. I always use you as an example, just impressed of just change your life, whatever it is you want to do. Your past doesn't dictate where your future takes you. You take yourself there. Like I said, Andre, if I can say it, and you did say it on the show, the episode, you learn animation in prison. It just speaks so much to where you want to go, or your past doesn't dictate where you see yourself or where you want to go. Just go and don't wait for anybody to take you there. And now he works at Pixar. Jeez Louise. Did I say jeez Louise? Okay. But amazing. Like I said, I always appreciate Andre. And two, he's a no nonsense, real kind of brother. That's another thing I can appreciate him for. He just says what he feels, and damn all the rest. For sure. So I appreciate you, brother, for sure. Can't wait to get you back on. Miss Amanda, great place to advertise work is ArtStation. Yeah. I mean, there's just too many channels. Just too many. If you're a filmmaker, there's YouTube. If you're an artist, there's ArtStation, Instagram. We have, like I said, like we were saying earlier, we know what it was like before all these companies and all this stuff was here. It was harder to get yourself kind of out there. But now it's so easy to get your idea out there. If your idea is a film, if your idea is an animated short, you don't have to stress or strife about affording Maya. There's Blender. If you really want to get your stuff out there, you don't have to worry about taking it to some, gallery to get it, shown.
Correct.
There's Instagram. There's YouTube. You got too many channels out there now. You got stuff out there to get your work out there for sure.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. None of these things literally existed when I was growing up.
None of them.
They didn't. The concept of social media didn't even exist when I was growing up. And now it's available.
Content for email. I tell people, I remember mailboxes on every corner where you had to drop a snail letter in.
Just the other day, I was having a conversation with a guy. So I remember in Trinidad and Tobago having to line up by a phone booth, right? And prior to that, going to a store and asking for change, for quarters, then to go in the line to wait on your turn to use a phone booth. And while in the line, people
oh, man.
because I say and now phone booths, there aren't even many phone booths.
There's very few.
So things have changed. Things have changed.
Man.
But just I want to talk about what's the gentleman's name who he was just talking about? The gentleman who learned animation. Andre. So that his experience mirrors the story of Jumbie. And this is not me giving a plug for Jumbie or anything, but this is the idea behind Jumbie. This girl discovers that she's been cursed by a Jumbie, right? So what would you do if you woke up one day and found out that you have the curse of a Jumbie? Of course, most people will go mad, uh, try to commit suicide or whatever because, hey, I'm cursed by a Jumbie. But she discovers that this curse gives her special abilities. And she decides to use the special abilities to fight evil. So even though the thing that gave her the ability was evil, she's taking the abilities that she's gained from this bad thing
Yeah.
and using it to fight
Yeah.
evil. So for whatever circumstance that caused his past that ended it up where he was, through that he learned animation, and now he's at Pixar.
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from? So
Yeah.
we need to tell these kind of stories to our own stories to inspire people. And I mean, talking about it here and my pause reason, because this is the kind of stuff that we need to help people out there.
Yeah.
Um,
No, for sure.
in a real way. In a real way.
This Amanda, yep, build your own, yes, but never limit yourself either. No, I don't think you have to do one thing or the other. I'm saying that most people, like you were just saying, they have an idea of it and then they kind of fantasize thinking that it's going to come so easy, or they're
Right.
immediately, you got people that graduate from these schools and immediately think they're going to fall into working for Pixar or Disney or this and that, while they're not creating their own stuff and really, you know, one, honing their skills, or two, maybe coming up with an idea that just catches on and blows people away. So that's my thing, is you don't have to choose one or the other. A lot of people do. I would love to get into a studio just to learn the process of how you put a movie together. But I'm
So
always thinking, yeah, but I still would want to use that knowledge and stuff to build my own studio,
really
to build
own,
my own
correct,
thing.
correct.
Not everybody is built that way, and that's fine. But my thing is just saying, don't wait. Don't wait, like I said, or don't wait thinking or expecting Pixar and Disney and all the studios are just going to roll open the door as soon as you graduate and think that your
Correct.
real is all of that and going to get you there, because it may or may not happen. If you're good, it may, but then again,
Let,
it may
let,
not.
let me share another story with you to show you why you shouldn't wait and you should put stuff out. Shout out again to Jay Francis. I know at this point I'm sounding like a fanboy, but shout out to
I'm
Jay
sure he'll
Francis.
appreciate that.
So I put together some of our animation work in a reel and I set it to the rapper Rhapsody's All Black Everything. And I shared that on social media, LinkedIn. Mr. J. Francis saw that and reshared it to his audience. So I was like telling Dixie Ann, hey, listen, J. Francis, J. Francis just shared one of our videos. No, it's just a share. Sure, I accept that, but it's J. Francis, head of diversity at Disney. So as much as just to speak on the young lady's comment, as much as we're building our own, if Disney calls me in the morning, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, looking at the call idea and say, oh, Disney, nah, I don't want to take this
Nah, we
call.
got our own thing going.
No. Of course, I am going to take the call, but it's because you do the work and you put it out there. Just put it out. Just put it out. Just put it
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Folks like Mr. Francis, and they will see your work, and
yeah,
you never know where that would lead. That kind of way.
yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely.
Mr. Andre, it was a long road, but I got the strength to walk it for sure, man. And we all walk our own journey. Your journey is not the same as somebody else's journey. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people get caught up thinking that it has to happen the same way that somebody else is. Everybody's got their own walk, and they're doing their own thing and in their own time. Some people take longer, some people take shorter. It's just the way it is. EX 140, the movie. I worked for Disney in the past. It's a job, which it really is, in it like any other job. I've worked on all of this big time films when I was there. I never got any respect from those MFs, no names, please. I think, like I said, bottom line, it really is a job, 9 to 5 job that you go to. You got, granted, you love it because you enjoy the thing that you're doing and creating, but it is part of a cog in a wheel, you know, and you're part of a system doing it. Being a creative is one of the hardest things to be in life. I think being a mom, that's pretty hard too.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, Jay is cool. And Jay, if you're watching this, definitely time. We got a fanboy here for you for sure. But definitely time to get you back on for sure. But no, it's and I get it. Like I said, I'm like it too. I get geeked when I see the work that Andre's doing. And I'm not at Pixar, but I feel like because I know him, he's a friend. I'm excited for him and so glad when he shares things and wants to be on the show. Like I just told you earlier before, I am just super pumped and proud about what Everett Downey is doing with his partner and Netflix and My Dad the Bounty Hunter. It's just, it's inspiring. It really is. Nothing like seeing your names in the credits. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never seen my name in the credits, but I'm sure it's a satisfying, just ecstatic thing to see that you've worked on such a big thing and your name is out there and people notice you and see the work that you're doing. But even if, my pastor says, if one person, or even if nobody, showed up to hear him preach, he would still preach. If nobody noticed your name, would you still do artwork? Would you still create? If nobody knew who you were.
Correct.
That's the sign of if you really love it or not.
That's the passion.
If nobody knows who you are or sees your name or gives you praise for it, would you still do it? Is the question. Definitely, I'll be coming back on the show, share my own short that I got cooking. I know you got something cooking, Andre, for sure, man. That's why I want to get you on. Amanda, yes, it is. Non-creatives have no clue. I don't think there is such a thing. I think you're creative. When we say creative, we're talking the arts. But I believe everybody has a gift or something that they're good at and are able to provide for them, provided they nurture it, go after it, and really build it. Some people don't, but I feel like everybody has something, that they're good at and that they enjoy doing.
I would say it's more about pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
Creatives tend to be that type of person to pursue dreams. And the pursuit of a dream is a very, very, very difficult thing in life.
Yeah.
So I would phrase it that way, as opposed to just creatives being the ones with the challenge.
Yeah. But no, and it goes back to kind of what you were saying about the young man getting discouraged. I mean, if you get discouraged to the point where you want to quit, then I guess ask yourself, how passionate am I about going after it? If it doesn't work out, do I still go after it? If I'm getting rejection after rejection, because 9 times out of 10, you'll probably get more rejections than you will, people coming at you. Mm-hmm. Are you strong enough? And is that passion hot enough to carry you through all the down things, all the late nights, all the early mornings, all the rejections, all of that stuff? Is it still strong enough in you? Is that desire still strong enough in you to carry you on to continue to do it?
Correct.
Let's see. By the way, Don, make sure to go see Fear on January 27th in theaters. Elbow. I get it, Amanda, and I will for sure. That must be something she's worked on. Amanda's an amazing visual effects artist. I'm looking forward to getting her on. Thank you, Michael. Agreed. Michael Burton, referring to hard work as a creative, no written path. Yeah, um, it is. I mean, like I said, because we have the down times, just being creative, not being motivated. It's can be hard sometimes being a creative, for sure. But again, I still say this is a great time to be creative.
It is.
This is an amazing, amazing time to be creative. You sometimes have to try different approaches to get to. Yeah, there is no straight line to. At least I haven't found it. Straight line
Mm.
to anything. There's always going to be these twists and turns. Uh, do Jumbie have the same kind of Trini humor? Does your
Yeah,
character have that same kind of Trini humor?
correct, correct. That's a big part of it. So the whole story is Trini centric. It's Trinbago centric. So you know, Deadpool.
Yeah,
Deadpool
Deadpool.
uses
Yeah,
humor and that type of thing. Spider Man is another character that uses humor even as a tool to disarm his enemies and that type of stuff.
yeah.
So our character Jumbie, in a similar way, but with a lot of Trini flavor attached to it. So you can expect to see uh, in the action, a lot of things that Trinis will get and the rest of the world will come to understand, these Trini traditions or phrases or things that Trinidadians do, that kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Uh, yes, Miss Amanda, it's a horror film she worked on, so I can't wait to check it out. Big plug for Fear, guys. Check it out. The credits thing is just an Amanda. The credits thing is just an illusion. It's just part of the process of the job. Once you get a few of them, it means nothing. You are your own cheerleader. I agree with that. Yeah, yeah, it's nice. I was. I've never, like I said, I haven't been in any credits or anything like that on a big screen. So
Likewise.
I'm pretty sure, like I said, it feels good. But like I said, after a certain point, it's you're doing your thing. You know, uh, Mr. DeMille, over 100 rejection letters and not even close to giving up. Can't stop, won't stop. And that lets you know
Definitely.
that this is something that's deep within you that you just have to do, you know?
Well, I will tell Mr. DeMille that he's getting a rejection letter is a lot better than not even getting a response. So, so the rejection letter says that they actually took the time, to communicate with you, but some they just don't.
They ghost you.
Crickets, you know, crickets, tumbleweeds, and that's they just don't respond. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of those
Yeah.
filled forms out, submitted portfolios, reels, and just nothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
so
for sure.
the rejection letter is still a lot better than no response
No
whatsoever.
response at all. Amanda, that depends on the person. My credits will always have a strong sentimental meaning for me because I know where I'm coming from with my journey. Yeah, it has a personal meaning to it means something to you because of the work that you put in to get where you're at. So yeah, kudos for that. That's right. And it only takes one yes there, Emil. And like I said, it's coming. It's coming, my man. I know it. Pretty soon you'll be hard to get back on the show because you'll be going to be working at Pixar or something like that. So, Andre, oh damn, I'm all about horror flicks. I'll be watching that. Andre's funny. I like Andre for sure. Uh,
I'm gonna check that out, but I'll have to watch it by myself because Dixie Ann isn't.
when you say you're not gonna get your better half to
Yeah,
watch
she ain't going through that at all. She ain't not horror.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Man, we just like I said, I can't believe that it's already been an hour and over an hour and a half. We've been sitting here
Yeah,
talking. It goes by so fast. But it also gives me an opportunity for sure to have him back on the show. And just highlight what GemGFX Animation is doing. Like I
Appreciate it,
said,
man. Appreciate it.
I'm just so always, like I said, blown, and even more blown away that it's done in Photoshop, I guess. Because, like I said, Photoshop isn't an animation tool. So the fact that
No,
you do it, you know,
yeah, it's primarily not an animation tool, but
yeah, it's not an animation tool. Although
yeah,
it has a timeline and you can do animation, it's not an animation tool. But I'm always impressed with, and it's just a tool, like I said. So it's really about the artist and what the artist does with the tool. So that in and of itself is just a big thing right there for sure. Uh, let's see. Uh, yes, make sure you post in the group too, Amanda, the trailer, so that we can share it out for sure. Just a few more comments before we close this out here. You can't see me now, but I am smiling. Thanks, Don and Everett. Yeah, man. Like I said, this is what this is all about. This show is to inspire people. We're all creators. We have our down times. We have our up times. But just knowing that there are other people out there on the same journey, maybe a little further ahead or a little further behind. We're all at our own pace, but we're all here to inspire each other. And trust me, man. Like I said, I've known you long enough now, Demille, to know that you're passionate about what you're doing and passionate about the work, and it's only going to come, and your passion is going to pay off, my man. That was a bomb drop, whatever it said. Yeah, I missed it. I usually like to have a set off my bomb there when a bomb is dropped. I got to get better at that. Appreciate that, though, there, Maggie, for sure. And that's why, like I said, uh, and I told Everett this before the show, people are going to get value from this. We were talking about, I hope so. He was saying,
yeah.
I
You
hope
know, that was my
people,
concern. That
yeah, I
was my
hope
concern.
people get something out of this. And I told him, I know people will get inspired and get something from this. And for me, that is the cherry on top of why I do the show, because it gets to inspire. This is stuff that I would have loved to have seen when I got started. Something like this that really inspires me to continue on, because we do have those points where we want to quit or stop or just doubt ourselves, whatever it may be. And things like this and people like this really is what keep us going for sure. Uh, Great guest as always. I told you, Everett, you're going to be amazing. You wouldn't have to worry about it. I'm telling you, everybody was worried about this before we started. I said, don't worry about it. It's going
Because
to be good.
the caliber of guests that I've seen on the show before, I was thinking, what can I add? What can I contribute to
Oh,
such
man.
a or some
You guys put
group,
in the comments, the work he does is just, the caliber of work he does is in par, and it's just as great as every guest that I've had on the show. And I've had, and trust me, I've had, like, my thing is getting perspective, everybody's perspective, from the super, veteran out there. And I've had people that are still in school at Savannah, and they're like, I hadn't even graduated yet. What do I got to share? Everybody, I believe, has a point of view and perspective and can inspire somebody. You can inspire a high school kid. You're still in Savannah getting ready to graduate, but you don't know the kids that's sitting at home or in high school that wants to do what you do, that you can inspire. So that's why I bring everybody that I feel, is super talented at what they do. They got a perspective and a view that they can share that's going to inspire somebody. May not necessarily inspire that, or it may inspire them, but, somebody that's 10, 20 years ahead, of course, they've seen it and done it, but there's always somebody behind you that's just coming up, so you want to be able to share and sow into them for sure. Ready, just as great and real. I appreciate that. And like I said, please, everybody, let Everett know that he is just way qualified to be on the show, and with the work that he's doing, more than qualified to be on the show. for everything he's doing and sharing for sure. This is a great outlook. I appreciate everyone has something to share. Everybody has something to share.
Definitely,
Everybody has something to share. You know, everybody does because there's always somebody behind you. You know, Everett was great. Let me throw this up. Everett was great, and he seems like a nice person. Trinities are, man. Trinities.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. If you don't know somebody from Trinidad or Tobago, you definitely have to be around them to understand. Understand. Oh man.
We are the best people to have around you, especially in a bad situation.
Oh
You
man.
you like a Trinity around here.
Oh,
We have a
definitely.
whole different way of looking at things. We have our
Definitely.
challenges like everybody else. But
And it's all about the
we make
outlook.
the best of it. Yeah,
Your
correct,
perspective shapes your reality. Your
correct.
perspective shapes your reality. So how you perceive stuff is going to shape your reality. Miss Amanda is Everett on LinkedIn. I'm glad you said that because we're going to transition over here. Make sure that you connect with Everett on all his social channels here. You can connect with him and find more of GemGFX work, animation of work. Connect with him, get plugged, and I highly suggest this. And again, that's why I said this. My goal was to build a community of creators of color and diverse backgrounds so that they can know one another, connect with one another, learn from one another, possibly do work with each other. So yes, Amanda, get plugged in and connected with him. He's a super awesome guy. Can't wait to have. We're gonna have to work on you. I know it's gonna be a lot of work to get your wife, but we'll work on it.
You have no idea.
I kind of have a little idea, but we'll work on it. We'll work on it. But you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Yes, LinkedIn. That's how I got connected with him for sure. Go to their website, ttjumbie.com, and you can see more of their work for sure. But you definitely want to get plugged in and reach out and, like I said, let him know the great work that he does for sure. Oh, man. Let me, before I do this and jump over to this thing, let me take this off here. Oh, man. Like I said, this has been amazing. And I knew I had nothing to worry about, man, just, from the beginning. But I hope it was reaffirmed to you so that the next time you come on, you won't have to worry about thinking about that or what you have to bring for value for sure. But I can't thank you enough for being on the show, sharing your wisdom and sharing, what your company is doing and just what Trinidad is bringing to the industry. So I appreciate you, brother. Can't thank you enough.
Thanks for having me, man. I had a great time. And
Awesome,
thanks to the
awesome.
guests as well for a great welcome and reception.
Awesome. If you could hang out in the green room for a second while I close out, I'd appreciate it, man.
Sure.
But everybody, please help me thank again our very special guest and friend, Everard McBain. Oh, wow. Man, oh man, oh man. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed. I could have gone on and on and on, and we could have went well into 2 hours, I know, if we just went. But I try, like I said, be respectful of my guest time and viewers' time. So I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it. So looking forward to having Everett back on and sharing more of their work that they're doing, him and his wife, Dixie Ann. I appreciate you giving me a little bit of your husband's time. And we're going to work on, trying to get you on the show. Because I'm super impressed that you're doing such amazing work in Blender and really getting, like I said, GemGFX out there for sure. Granny, appreciate you for sure tuning in as always. Miss Amanda, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Definitely everybody check out Fear coming soon for sure. wonderful and first time watching Mix Craft. I hope you come back. Make sure you do for sure. Dixie Ann, appreciate you tuning in, supporting your husband. And definitely the work that you do. Like I said, we're gonna have to work on you, getting you here and talking Blender talk really now. So gotta be a part of it for sure. Oh man, this has been, like I said, another amazing episode. I can't thank you, the viewers, enough for being a part of it and making this as engaging and fun for everyone. Again, truly, it was worried about the value and what people want to get from it. But I'm so glad that you all showed up, responded, let him know that the value that he brings is not only a boon to the industry, but a boon to Trinidad and Tobago as well. So, can't thank you guys enough for always showing up and showing out. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, this has been one heck of a ride show today. I can't thank all of you again enough. This VX, great show, Don. I loved it. I appreciate that, man, for sure. And hey, this train is going to keep moving this season. We got a lot of great guests lined up for this season, so you definitely want to make sure that you come back for sure. Next week's guest is no exception. I'm looking forward to having him on the show. Been a long-time supporter of it. Dwayne DJ Barry is coming on. Freelance cartoonist, animator, and character designer. So you definitely don't want to miss that as well. So make sure you come back, tune in, same bat time, same bat channel. I want to see you here next week. See you all.